Despite what you may have heard, EV sales are going really well around the world, with Tesla still holding one of the top positions. Top two, definitely. Top one, depending where you're looking. It's going really well. And that alone is a story in and of itself, but it's not a complete story because from there, we take a hard right into what I can only call mental illness. That's not why I showed Randy when I said that. He's not the mental illness. I just had to have him here because these stories get a little ridiculous and I cannot help but have a chuckle. And if there's one person I know who loves to chuckle, it's Randy Kirk. So
Brian, I know you try to stay away from politics, but talking about going to the hard right and then a mental illness sounded like you were.
Oh wow, that's a fun. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be in so much trouble for you assuming that connection. No, we're veering off course. This is more like going straight down the road, going, oh look, great story, and I'm in the ditch. How did I do that? You'll see when we get to each headline because it is ludicrous.
Okay.
I'm Brian. Welcome to Future Asa. So, Randy, you know this story. You've seen this story. You've covered it on your channel. Guys, if you're not following Randy Kirk, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should be. Global EV sales remain up year to date at 23%, following 1.9 million EVs sold in October alone worldwide. What's going on?
Yeah, it was interesting. It kind of caught me by surprise. I know that China is selling a lot more EVs. I know that China is moving into other territories, moving into South America, moving into the African continent. We know that Australia is coming on really strong, South Korea. So, if you start thinking about it globally, you're starting to go, oh yeah, well, yeah, this is maybe it's starting to be a big deal because in the United States, not so much. So we get a little centric, U.S. centric, and we don't think about the fact that there's something going on outside of the U.S. that might be different than what's happening here. So anyway, yeah, it was good news and a little surprising.
Yes. And it's true. I've seen people say, well, Chinese EVs will never catch on. I've never even seen one. I say, well, first of all, you probably have. Volvo and Polestar are both made in China. But I can see why you would have that perception if everywhere you go all the time, you never see them. Having traveled outside the US, I've seen them in Europe. I've seen them in Asia. Global's up, China's up, Europe's up, North America's still up 4%. Rest of world, 48%. And that is, of course, on the strength of those Chinese EVs. How do you think Tesla's doing in the mix on account of having just had a record quarter?
So I'm going to go in the opposite direction that this, well, in fact, if it's the same article I saw, it doesn't even bring this up. I'm going to say that Tesla is number one in profits. I'm going to say that they're number one in total dollar sales revenue. And I'll say that they're going to be number two in unit sales.
Okay, well, I'm glad you went in the other direction because they're also number one in the most avoided EV brand in the world.
The most avoided EV brand.
How do you come up with that? They just had a record quarter. Oh, Lou, what are you doing? Lou is a freelance journalist and content writer with a focus on the automotive world. I don't know. Consumer choice are a very complex thing. Figuring out what the next market trend is, what people like and what they don't like. The world of EVs, however, is a little different than the mainstream car market. As the EV industry is young, patterns are still emerging. Yeah. A recent study by Global EV Alliance has attempted to get a complete picture of what EV world currently looks like. On one particular trend has emerged: prospecting buyers, avoiding certain brands for political reasons. So you remember, what was it? About a year ago now, I'd say a year ago, Q4 and Q1, last Q4 and this Q1, were what I would call peak hate. Peak Tesla hate.
Yeah.
It was when the protests were going in person. Some of them still are, but no one pays attention because they weren't paying attention then either. But we are past peak hate. We no longer feel the need to have a visible police presence in addition to the regular security at Tesla events. And I don't mean Tesla official events. I mean fan events. I mean car meetups where owners of Rivians and Lucids are welcome and display their cars as well. Those ones, we had to have a visible police presence because places were getting shot up. Is it possible that this survey is out of date?
Well, I want to say it was a month ago. One of my neighbors got a beautiful, I mean, oh my goodness, red Model 3. Oh, there it is. Anyway, a beautiful red Model 3. I think she's had it for, 6 months or a year, whatever, maybe longer. But I just hadn't seen it before because it wasn't actually the neighbor, it's the neighbor's mom or somebody. Anyway, so I was walking past the house. She's standing out there by the car. I said, man, that's a gorgeous looking car. That's amazing. And she goes, oh, well, no, I hate it now. So, but she didn't sell it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, I finally, Randy, I gave up. I finally had to put a bumper sticker on that said I bought my Volkswagen before I knew that he was crazy. No, actually, I bought my Tesla after I knew I was crazy, and that's really all that matters to me.
Sure.
Um, and the company will never succeed because Elon is not an engineer. So right, but I've like met dozens of the engineers, and they are whip smart, and they're the ones actually making the final decisions on which material. Never. I don't want to spoil the surprise.
I did a whole show about Elon as an engineer. The National Association, I don't know what it's called, the International Association of Engineers gave him their highest level prize that they give for being an engineer. So just because you don't have the degree doesn't mean you're not an engineer.
When you watch an interview with Tim Dodd, there was a great one. It was the unveiling of Starship, the unveiling of the entire Starship program. Tim Dodd was at the event and he said, I need to talk. Can I interview him? Can I interview him? And his handlers go, okay, but you get 5 minutes. And so about 45 minutes later, with all the other journalists behind him just stewing, come on, it's my turn. Tim Dodd asks very smart questions. And he had a list of questions that he really wanted to know. And every time he would ask a question, Elon would go, ooh, I love it, and give you an engineer's answer. If you watch that and you don't come away with the idea that Elon actually understands engineering, it's because your understanding of engineering is so superficial that you can't understand what's being said. And that's fine, but you can leave it. So anyway,
Anyway,
again,
yes, rabbit hole.
anyway, from hype to cringe, how did Tesla ruin its reputation? I think I'm gonna shut this article down here because what are you talking about? Tesla just had their best quarter ever. The best quarter ever, which by the way, super cringy. Come on.
Couple of,
So that's
and a
yeah.
couple of articles this week in Road and Track, and I forget what the other one was. Both just absolutely mind blown by the Model 3 and the Model 4, Model Y performance. I mean, no negatives, no holding back, just basically glowing reports from automotive magazines, which we haven't seen in the past.
There was I got sent a link to a video to an article in Dutch, it from the Netherlands, and the guy said you got to see this article, translate it, do whatever you got. So I read it, and I'm like, what? It's an article about the. He goes, right. There's nothing political.
Oh,
I'm like, oh. He goes, yeah. The tone has shifted. But if we're having a conversation, Randy, about about having a screw loose, Mad Max mode is now under federal scrutiny. So I'm going to I'm going to spoil this for you guys. Everything that a car is and does is already under federal scrutiny. That's what those agencies are tasked with. Did I miss something? Earlier this month, they rolled out a new firmware update that added a pair of new driving modes for the controversial full self-driving feature. One called Sloth relaxes acceleration and stays in its lane. Going to shut you down right there? No, it doesn't. When I was bringing a U-Haul back, and this is a whole thing, we are still dealing with some extended family drama.
I
We were
see.
asked to go pick up a couple bags of clothes. And when we got there, we were informed by the authorities that it was actually a U-Haul's worth of mostly garbage.
Oh,
And so we had to hurriedly rent a U-Haul and drive it back. So anyway, I got to follow my son driving his Tesla, for hours. and see how it behaves. And I said, look, I'm in a big old box fan. Can you just leave it in sloth? And in sloth, it obeyed the speed limit. But if someone in front of him was going 60, 65 instead of the posted 70, sloth would pass them. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you, Ars Technica, that you're more Ars and less Technica. Your article is wrong. It doesn't stay in the lane. Let's see what else they get wrong. Mad Max does the opposite. It speeds and swerves through traffic jams to get you to your destination faster. So I'm on 14.2 now, Randy. I got it.
Yay!
Late Sunday night, of course, we immediately went out, took a drive, and I put it in Mad Max and left it in Mad Max, and it didn't do anything crazy. So maybe in 14.14 or 14.17, but in 14.1 and 14.2, it just drove. It wasn't going 20 over on my residential streets. It was going maybe 6 or 7 over. Maybe that's just my street. Maybe it's just because it's at night. But in any case, I felt perfectly safe. So, yeah, NHTSA is in contact with the manufacturer to gather additional information. That's it. That's it. So
So
that's the scrutiny, Randy. Can So my first question is, will Tesla survive
the scrutiny.
the scrutiny, Randy?
Well, there's no question that Mad Max probably would have not taken a full stop at a stop sign. I mean, there might be a question as to whether Mad Max might go 12 miles an hour over the speed limit instead of 9. But for what I'm hearing about 14.2, it is basically ready to go. Although there's a few little tiny things that should be pretty easy to work out.
So, my limited experience with it last night, I had my 15-year-old in the car, and we had this running joke where every time early versions of FSD 11, 12 would do something terrifying or bonkers, I'd say, good news though, a month or two, this is going to be unsupervised. And we would laugh. And I said, can we still make that joke? And Max said, no,
No.
no, because this last night, it was not perfect. It made, when I pulled out onto the highway to go home, it, instead of turning right like the navigation said, it turned left. And then it looped the block and went the correct direction. That's acceptable. And frankly, that's how cabbies have driven for a long time. I just got to eke up the miles, to charge more. That's perfectly acceptable. Another one it did was when we were going to the grocery store, it turned left into a hotel parking lot instead of right into the actual grocery store parking lot. And I disengaged because it's not so much a hotel as one of those scary motels.
Oh yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, it'll turn around. I'm confident it'll turn around and get us out of here, but I'm not going to play with it. And then the last thing it did, and I didn't catch this one on camera because I try not to record my house, me driving to my house for security reasons, is I had it on Mad Max. It was going to park in my driveway. It picked the wrong driveway and came in hot enough that the front end scraped. And I was very annoyed.
Oh.
I'm confident that that was because I was in Mad Max. But hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah, we have one of the things that has been talked about in 14.2 is navigation problems. So that would seem to be an easy fix. We'll see what happens in 14.2.1, which will probably be out this afternoon at the rate that they're putting these out.
I was very pleased and impressed all around. This last slide here, Randy, we're not going to spend too much time on because we're reaching peak mental illness, and I'm not qualified. I do not have the requisite certification to help people
Yeah.
with this degree of mental illness. No Trillionaires Day of Action Part 2. Did you know there was a Part 1?
No,
Uh,
no.
what First of all, I appreciate the variety of costume choices. Um, but if your objective is to say we're the sane ones, maybe. And I love it. We've got immigration's custom enforcement signs in front of a Tesla store. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Uh, Raging grannies. I am not going to put that into my search history. Um, Guys, your rage, I suggest, might be misplaced, but whatever you do, just know that this protest will do nothing.
No, no. So
Nothing.
maybe the
Nothing.
opposite, maybe negative.
Can I tell you, if you have these beliefs and you wish to advance them and your powers are limited, run for city council.
Go on X and build up a
Uh,
following.
maybe, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
so much work, Randy.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's true.
It's so much work.
Yeah.
But for real, there are things you could do that aren't this. If you're just out there to have fun, have fun. Have fun. I don't know what to tell you. Uh guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? And by the way, here's a question for you, Randy. If uh if Elon hits that top package and gets the stock to what is it, 8 trillion market cap?
Yes.
So that would be, what would that be per share? Do you recall?
Yeah, 8 trillion market cap would be just under 3,000, like 2,600 or something a share. Yeah,
2,600.
something like
And
that.
so uh multiply that by 15 to get us back to the pre-splits. So that'd be 20, so it'd be about 35, $40,000. Uh that means if you'd put in what, 2 grand, 3 grand in 2019, you'd be a millionaire
When he hits his numbers.
when
Yeah,
he hits trillion.
yeah,
So if you're saying no trillionaires, what I hear you saying is, and also no billionaires and also no millionaires.
and no
What I
hundred
hear you,
thousandaires.
no, nope, because a lot of these people, I'm
Yeah.
going to show the picture again. A lot
Oh,
of these people own houses that
oh,
they paid nothing for,
yeah, yeah.
and they don't recognize that the house they own is desperately unaffordable to the
Sure,
younger generation,
sure.
in part because they're sitting on it. So, uh, no, I got mine, Jack. Look, I believe that we should do more to have better opportunities in society, but this ain't it.
This
This
ain't.
ain't it. So, look, I think we should do more for, certain kinds of athletes, but saying ban, uh, heavyweight boxing doesn't accomplish that. No more heavyweight boxing. God, what I don't understand. What did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it. Yes, I'm a little delirious. I still got the head cold. I'm working my way through it. Everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots. Perhaps even in the comments section on Randy Kirk's page, where I appear twice a week.